Hello there folks, it is TIJ Gaming and welcome to the first part of my MotoGP 19 career mode. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider hitting that button for daily MotoGP content and hopefully daily content for the next month or two. So plenty of career mode episodes to come on a daily basis. I'm really excited, so let's get into it, shall we? So yesterday I did my first impressions video, which hopefully you have seen, but if not, make sure to go and check that out over on the channel. But this is the first delving into career mode. Played a few quick races with Danilo Petrucci and Valentino Rossi around Mugello, and I think we raced as well at Assen in the wet. But today we're going to be starting our career mode, trying to get from the bottom of the pack in the Red Bull Rookies Cup all the way up to the MotoGP circuit, the premier class of motorbikes, and of course the Grand Prix class, which goes to all the circuits, etc., and are on the most powerful bikes. For some reason, the game's taken a long time to load, which is very frustrating. But once... Oh, that's good. I'm not really bothered. Yeah. Whatever. I'm not bothered about online today. Today, we are starting our career mode. So, let's delve into this. So, new career. That, of course, is the KTM. I'm going to guess it's for Zarco. Yeah, you can see Zarco on the back. And then, of course, that is Jorge Lorenzo on the left. So we're going to start on a standard career. I'm not really fussed about pro career. I'm not that good at the game. We're going to start as a standard career with riding aid and match options as we prefer. So MotoGP 18 standard career offers you a challenge with freedom and competition. Set the race options and riding aids to suit your riding style as closely as possible. Get ready to take on the best MotoGP riders to become the new world champion. So we are going to start in Red Bull Rookies Cup. Only fair, I think, to go from the bottom all the way through, from Moto 3 to Moto 2 and MotoGP. And challenge, of course, the best. Marquez, Lorenzo, Dovi, Rossi, etc, etc. I can go on. But we're going to start our rider career in the Rookies Cups. This single brand championship is reserved for young riders who want to break through to motorbike racing and has proven to be a breeding ground for future champions. Only 7 stages, and of course we have to show our worth in these stages. So all participants use the same KTM bikes in this championship, so the only difference is the rider's skill. So we've got 7 Grand Prix to do our best and earn a contract with a Moto 3 team. This is all quite self-explanatory. We can start the weekend. There's the leaderboards. Career progress, quite like this menu. Research development, that's quite nice to have a look at the bike. And season news. Cool. So let's have a look at race options, etc, etc. So we're going to make this, I think, for the Rookies Cup. We can change this throughout. Just for the Rookies Cup, we are going to make 25%, so 4 laps this weekend. Change the AI difficulty to around about... not really sure where we can put this at. Probably just below realistic. Maybe just below realistic at 85%. We can change that, of course, at any time. Turn off tyre wear. Not the biggest fan of that, because I do like to push as hard as I can in these races. Might well turn that on going up to future stuff. I'm going to turn off manual start management. Don't really see the point of that too much. And tolerant penalties as well. I won't change that in future races. Physics also looks absolutely fine. Yep, good stuff. So let's start the weekend for the Spanish Grand Prix. So in this, I'm really liking this screen. Looks lovely. So our first Grand Prix is at Jerez, the Angel Nieto circuit now in Jerez. Then we get to Mugello, then Assen, followed by the Sachsenring, then to Austria, then to San Marino, the Marcus Sinucelli circuit, and then ending the season at Aragon. So hopefully, this is Friday, the first episode, so hopefully I can get... I'm just going to take off the FP sessions. I think we can do what we can in qualifying and then get the race done. So I'm hoping over this weekend, over these 3 days, I can get the season finished. Just probably do the 1 race today. And then I'm not really sure how I can get all the 6 races crammed into 2 days of videos, but I'm sure I can work it out and then get into Moto 3 as quick as possible. But while this waits for the Jerez circuit, I'll see you guys at the start of quali.
Only a few minutes to go before we see the first bikes take to the track for that all-important qualifying session.
A bit of Keith Ewan in the commentary box. For some reason, I was getting him and Hodgie mixed up yesterday, Neil Hodgson, in our first impressions. But Keith Ewan being on this game rather than Gavin Emmett. I love Gav, but Keith Ewan being there is fantastic. And there we are, Mr. Jones for our first race with the KTM bike. Of course, as it said on the home screen, all the bikes are the same, so all that is going to separate us is rider's skill. So only 15 minutes in this session, so not really too long to get on with it. So we're going to make a flying start and do as many laps as possible. So here we are, our first chance to ride one of these bikes. I'm not really sure about the specs of these bikes, to be honest. Gonna guess they're maybe about 300cc. I think that the Moto 3 bikes this year are 400s and the Moto 2 are 750s. So I might be completely wrong, but I remember reading something to do with that somewhere. And these are KTMs, it looks like, whereas the Moto 3s and Moto 2s all brake way too late into that, and we're off already. Well, that's always a good start at the first corner. I can't get the braking right yet. I must admit, I'm braking a lot later than obviously seems to be possible. But I mean, braking at this line, you've got to get it turned in quite a bit. And I suppose do the thing where you brake before turning in. Because as soon as you start braking when you're turning in, you're just going to lock your brakes and just go with the bike. So it's going to be something to get used to. And hopefully we can get used to that after a few laps round the Jerez circuit. But I did say in my first impressions before I fell off there, is that these lower bikes, you know, less torque, less power, just to learn the physics of the game and how we ride and how we can ride. And I think that's probably the best thing to do going through the category. So that's why I didn't want to start too far up. And plus, give ourselves the complete career mode. So we're going to do a few laps around the circuit, see if we've judged the AI rides, and then see where we finish off in quali. But goodness me, I thought I'd broke late there. Look at how Ashley broke behind us, goodness me. And the good news is we haven't fell off for the rest of the lap, but because of our fall at the first corner, I think it's fair to say that this lap's not going to be the best. So it's going to be a lot of improvements. Let's have a look if we can do this corner correctly. Yeah, it's just all about not braking in the corners, I think. Getting your braking done before the braking zone. Well, that sounds a bit daft. Real contradictory comment there. Getting your braking done before you actually turn in. And then sorting it out on exit. But I'm quite liking these bikes. As I said before, not too much power and torque. Meaning that the effects of having lower traction control aren't too big. Means you can't get it stepped out in the rear coming out of corners. But these seem nice bikes. As you can see, we're 5 seconds up in the first intermediate split. So we're looking good in this lap. And hopefully, as we go on, we can push and push even more. And see if we can get a good qualifying position. Oh, and we're off. We just pushed too close to the curb on that attempt. Unfortunately, we were just too close to the left-hand curb. And by touching the curb, that fiddled with the stability of the back of the bike. And we fell off. So we're going to be probably up on this lap, I would say. But it's worrying me a little bit. I think our lap was a 2:01 and we fell. So the fact that Felon's only set a 2.2 dead 0.4. To be fair, these times may well improve. Those are the only two that have set a lap. This is quite a tricky corner to get into without four, and we've gone again. But it's all about learning the bike, so it might be good to set a few more laps, see how we got on, and see at our best whether we are whooping the AI, whether we're probably on their level. Perhaps, to be fair, they've only set banker laps so far, so we don't necessarily know how quickly the AI are, but I think what we're yet to achieve, and what would be quite important, particularly in the race, is to achieve a lap without actually falling off. Well, I'd hate to jinx it, but we haven't fell off this lap yet, and this has felt really good. Got it hooked up in all the corners pretty much. I mean, I am definitely going to jinx it, because I reckon we're going to go wrong at the last corner, but I think just being nice and composed going in, it's quite a tricky corner to get into, so brake early, get off the brake as we go into the corner, that's absolutely fine. And come out the last corner, what's the lap time going to be? Let's have a look. I'd say it's going to be quite clear of Cunhill, who set a 1:58.9. It is a 1:54.3. So we'll have to have a look where that puts us at the end of the session. Let's have a look how we've got on. And yeah, I think possibly the difficulty needs to be changed for the next race. But nevertheless, we've took pole, whatever. It really doesn't matter. We can see we took pole. But as I say, we need to change difficulty. Quite tricky to tell how much we needed to change difficulty, because I wasn't sure how quick we'd be. But nevertheless, we're on pole for this race. And maybe, out of setting the difficulty loop too low, or just being a master at the game, I think it's probably the first, not the latter, we might well win this race at a canter. But you just don't know, do you? We might fall off. At the end of the day, only one of our laps was clean out of the three. We've got 4 laps to contest here. And let's see how we get on. We can't change the difficulty as we go into the race. So, it's our first race, first bit of race combat. There's plenty of bikes in this, as you can see. We've got 9 rows of bikes, so I think it's going to be 27 bikes, unless, of course, that back row isn't completely full. But it seems that there's quite a gap between all the riders, so I think we're going to clearly see some rivalries coming out between maybe 5 or 6 riders who are the quickest. But ultimately, if we put the difficulty up to a point where it's challenging, we might not be in that top brackets. This might be a little bit of a lucky race. But anyway, that's the warm-up lap. Not too fussed about watching that. We're number 8, it seems, on the grid. Not too fussed about that number. Got the safety car in front. And here we are. The green flag is up and running. The lights are on. And we are away for our first race in the MotoGP 19 career mode. We've had a good start there. The manual starts, of course, being off. So we've got a decent start. Quite a fairly easy automatic start. Just got to be careful coming into this first corner. Took it quite cautiously there, and those two did benefit from that. But as you see, we just go straight past, powering straight past them. Probably because our route out of the corner is better. It seems that the other riders are braking a little bit later, but we get better exits. That might be something that we can do in our career mode, being quite cautious into the corners and then getting a better exit. And that's usually the best way to go, particularly, of course, with long straights. But we've had a good start. Apparently very close is Salvador behind, but it seems he's not right to our backside because we'll be seeing him. But it looks like, unless there's going to be any problems, we are going to win this first race. But as I've said, we'll change difficulty after this race. Possibly maybe get 2 in this episode if this is going to be quite an easy win. We'll have to see how we get on, but if there's no other action, I'll just come back to you on the last lap. It might be a boring one, but at the end of the day, I don't see the point of talking for 4 laps if there's nothing going on. And then we'll have to tweak the difficulty and see how we get on in the next race at Mugello. But let's see how we get on. We might fall yet, and any highlights from the race I will bring you now. Pushing maybe just too hard there. You might have, well, hopefully future me goes back in the footage and sorts that out, because I didn't really address that until about 5 seconds after. Probably was thinking about rewinding it so I don't look like so much of a plonker. But pushing it a little bit too far to the limit there, possibly. Getting a 2/10 of a second time penalty. But looking at the gap behind, unless we really muck this up, I don't think that's really going to affect us. But it's all about pushing to the limit, find the limit, as Marquez would say. He usually finds the limit in weekends and as a crash in practice, finds the limit and then stays on the limit and doesn't go above that for the rest of the weekend. I think that's a fairly effective method to use. And we're coming around the last corner for the second time. 2 more laps to go. And unless something disastrous happens, we've won. And what's more clear is that we need to change difficulty for the second race. Oh, we're off. I don't think it should affect anything. We're probably just pushing a little bit too hard. I mean, as I said before in the last highlight, it's all about finding the limit to the track. And we've been pushing quite a lot. Obviously to no avail there, but in a lot of the race so far, we've pushed and got away with it. And I think it's just all about finding the limit with these bikes. And, oh, that's a bit of a twitch there. We shouldn't get on the curb, but we're just getting a little bit too greedy. But it shouldn't really matter too much. Again, it's just all about experience. And these skills should be transferable to the newer bikes, to the bigger bikes, the Moto3, Moto2 and MotoGP bikes. And I don't think we'll be winning a race by this amount in all of those categories, and equally, hopefully in the next one in Mugello we won't be as well. We are going to do that this episode because it's not been too long yet. I appreciate that. And yeah, we'll get on with that. And then hopefully it'll be at least some racing for you racing fans in this video. So then, coming around the last corner on the final lap. Again, no real racing today, but it's all about finding how we can do with the difficulty. Wasn't really sure how we could do it, but nonetheless, we have won our debut race in the Rookies Cup. Can't be too disappointed with that. As you saw, our fastest lap was about 5 seconds of anybody else. Nice achievement there for winning in Jerez. But yeah, we're going to continue. We're therefore first in the Riders' Championship. That certainly helps us out for the next few races, but we're going to tweak the difficulty, and I'll see you guys in Mugello. But there you go, there's our little victory dance. I'm fearing when we increase difficulty we're going to do it too much now. But oh well, very nice to see some victory in the first race. Long may that continue. I don't think we're going to quite go extreme. I think we'll go realistic at 100%. It was on 95% before, so we'll just have to see how we get on. But the second weekend is here, the beautiful Mugello. And we're going to do qualifying again and then get into the race. So let's go for it. Here we are then, in the home of Italian MotoGP. Possibly you could argue the home of MotoGP altogether after all. The Rossi army comes out in their masses for this circuit. I found it quite funny on Sunday when they'd got all the yellow smoke coming, and then there was just a little stand the Marquez stand, and that was all the support for Marquez. But still a clear Rossi contingent in the MotoGP. I've left it a few minutes to come out just to gauge how quick the AI are. Certainly not like the last race where we were zooming past them, so that's positive. But I think I'm going to shut up and focus on our first quali lap and see where that puts us. Okay, so 4 tenths up in the first sector. That's a little bit of a worry. We might well be pole again by quite a bit. It's always tricky on a game like this, especially with MotoGP, to try and gauge how quick you are compared to the AI. You don't want to particularly put yourself like this to be too quick, but then you don't want to be being absolutely whooped by them as well, because it makes you look like a bit of a plonker. But hopefully, if we are still too quick, I'll have hopefully by the next episode figured out a good difficulty, but only a second up on Cunil, to be fair, so far. So not a massive difference. You know, in the race, if we make a mistake, we might well be punished. But we'll just have to see how we get on. Talk about time gain in the last few sectors. Jesus Christ. Unbelievable. 4 seconds up. Are we going to be that amount up at the end? Yes, we are. Oh dear. Well, this isn't a very good start, is it at all? I think I'm going to have to put it on the extreme AI then. This is obviously not quick enough for us unless we're just really good at the game. So again, we'll have to see how we get on in this race. Again, we might fall, etc, etc. But we'll have to see how we get on. But as you see, 4 seconds up on the AI. We'll have to improve the difficulty quite a bit. Oh, okay. I mean, well, that's interesting. The AI are that slow that they thought they'd put someone halfway up the track to give us a bit of a challenge. That is a glitch, ladies and gents, but you know, it's opening day of the game. This is the day after the game's come out. I'm sure they'll patch that, but at least gives us someone to overtake. I mean, Cunil's not that slow. I mean, we were only, what, a second up on him in the first 2 sectors. It's clear in those last 2 sectors with a few chicanes, etc., that we really dominated. So we'll have to see how we get on. Maybe they might improve race pace-wise, but we're certainly not whooping Cunil. You know, we're gaining on him slightly, but in this first sector, he's certainly not whooping us. So maybe, I don't really know. Because in sectors like these, we're not really catching him yet. In other sectors, we really are. So we're going to have to try and work out a difficulty level. But at the moment, we might well start with 2 very good results that perhaps we weren't expecting in the Rookies Cup. Oh, well, that doesn't help. Luckily, we control it so we don't go down. Oh dear, I think that's Battus who's just going to head that we tapped, and he went all out of line. That certainly doesn't help going into the gravel there. Just trying to push a little bit too much, too much speed carried through in the corner. And of course, if you brake sharp on these things, the bike just goes, haha, you're not doing that. You're going straight off. So we tried to control that and did pretty well. But let's see what sort of advantage we get through this section, because this is where we got massive advantage in qualifying. And as you can see, I mean, look at this. Not Battus, sorry. But it's through this section, we're just daring to take a lot more speed. On previous games, to be fair, I think the AI haven't been very good there. Rookies Cups, it's tricky to gauge the AI of Rookies Cup compared to AI, of course, in... oh, blooming hell. Jesus. In GP itself. But I think that's Baltus potentially trying to give us a bit of revenge for what happened before with him when we tried to knock him off the track to the right. He's probably just saying, look, mate, don't try it on again. But nevertheless, we'll have to see how we got on. At least a bit more of a challenge here, and that's always nice. But these bikes, not the quickest, going about 146 down the straight. Of course, the speed record was broken in GP this week, and I think it was 221 by Dovi along that start-finish straight. So these are a lot less powerful than the GP bikes. Maybe I'm rubbish at doing my maths thinking about it here. But probably about 30-35% slower on that straight than the GP bikes. But as I said, the handling's pretty much the same. So these bikes definitely a good start to learn the more tough, heavy bikes. To be fair, we're not really catching that top 3 after this lap. So the AI might well be a decent level. I just think perhaps that we might be a little bit too overpowered, perhaps, in these little sections here. They definitely need some sort of improvement, the AI do, because being 4 seconds up a lap is, well, to be quite frank, mugging the AI. But to be fair, you know, we started the lap about 2 seconds behind Salvador, and that's exactly where we are now. So this might be about the right level, maybe tweaked a little bit, but this is a good level to be at. Very much challenging. That should be a good gauge. Canil's fastest lap was a 2:04.7. Salvador's now done a 2:04.6. 2:04.9 for us. So Perhaps these AI changed to suit your, to suit your speed. I'm really not sure, but it seems that their qualifying pace is a lot worse than their race pace. But I think we will have to change difficulty slightly, and I think the Rookies Cup 7 races will have done 2 here. Another 5 more will be able to nicely gauge the difficulty before we hopefully, fingers crossed, well, based off these results, it should be good. But hopefully moving to Moto 3 after the weekend of getting all these races done and polished. Very close to the fastest lap there. I think these AI might well be suited to us. Again, I'm just not really sure what's going on with the AI. It's weird with the difficulty level, because we were whooping them by sort of 4 seconds in qualifying. Obviously, in the race, we haven't been going any slower, any quicker probably. Maybe even a little bit quicker, which shows that it's very odd that the AI are keeping up. But in contrast, behind, they're a long way back. So, again, not really sure. But let's see how we get on. I think we are going to finish 4th here. So, not 2 wins, sadly, to start us off. But I'm not really too fussed about that. I'd rather have the challenge than be winning every race. At the end of the day, it's not entertaining for you guys, nor is it for me playing. But whoever's in 2nd, I don't know who's in 2nd. Salvador's always been in 3rd. Whoever's in 2nd is really doing well to hold Salvador back. Because Salvador's had plenty of chances to go for a move. And has been sniffing up the inside of the chap in 2nd. But what I would dispute is that, of course, the chap in 1st, can't remember his name now, he got a head start. I don't know why, and where. Obviously a glitch, but quite funny nevertheless that he was starting ahead of us. But certainly interesting there. But I don't think unless we have a mighty last few corners, or of course the guys in front make a few hiccups and mistakes, that we are going to finish in 4th here. Which at the start of the episode I've definitely took 4th place. But if you have got to this point, I think I'd really appreciate a like, comment, subscribe as well for daily MotoGP content on the channel. It's my first career mode I'm doing on MotoGP. I'm really excited in terms of a rider career anyway. Done a few little bits and bobs before on the channel. This is the first fully fledged rider career mode. Gone a little bit wide there, but these AI don't seem to be a bad level. So good stuff. So coming around the last corner at the home of Italian MotoGP. It's not going to be 2 podiums in 2, but it's going to be 4th place, and a very solid 4th place it is. Yuki Kunil wins the race, and we come across the line to finish in a very respectable 4th place, which our rider is quite happily and quite rightfully chuffed with. But we get the fastest lap on the end there. David Salvador and Carlos Tate in 3rd and 4th, but as you can see, apart from us 4, everybody else has been quite poor, so I'm not really sure what to make of that. Tate takes the leader of the championship. We're down to 3rd, but again, great stuff. So we'll have to review the difficulty level, but that's probably going to be it for this race. The team very chuffed. Not a podium, not the winners' enclosure again in Parc Ferme, but the team very happy with what we've done there. And this looks good for the future. So we'll move on tomorrow. I'm going to get these episodes out, I think, I haven't really decided, to be honest, so we'll decide here. So I'm going to be producing episodes at 8 o'clock every day for this series, and hopefully get some other videos out at other points in the days in the next few days. But this series will be coming out at 8 PM every single day. So if that's something you like the sound of, make sure to subscribe, like the video as well, and leave a comment if you enjoyed as well. But that's been it for me, TIJ Gaming today. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video tomorrow. Goodbye for now.